Hello, welcome to You Ask, I Answer video. This one is for Cami, Reader1717. She asked me to do a video talking about restoration in comic books. Um, let's see if I can answer her question adequately. Okay. Um, Restoration in comic book is not new. It's been around for a long time, decades. In fact, I brought out this price guy, issue 12, which is 1982. Okay, and inside this price guide is an ad from a company in Massachusetts called the Restoration Lab. Okay, probably can't show it because it's too small, but let me read you real quick what it says. Conservation is our business. Conservation is restoration plus preservation for over 8 years. Okay, so this company has been around 8 years. This is 1982, so 76 ish. Okay, for over 8 years now, we have been providing the finest in conservation services to collectors of comic books. Restoration is an investment. A skilled restorer can enhance the value of a book or other collectible, often at a cost far below that of an upgrade to a better copy. Okay, there's a lot more, but I just read you a few little blurb from the ads. So for a long time, in the 70s and even mid 80s, restoration was not looked at as a taboo. A lot of golden age books that are restored was done in this period by a lot of professionals. There's a lot of experts back then that was learning the craft. It was crude. The methods was crude, but it was not looked at as something bad or horrible. A lot of people was preserving golden age books that was really in bad condition, missing pieces, big tears. So you see a lot of tear seals, color touches, pieces added. I mean, it's really not well done. I mean, anyone that have any kind of understanding of comic book can spot this restoration. So they're not designed to dupe anybody. Okay, that's, I think the intention is very different back then. And restoration was viewed as an enhancement to the value of books that are in bad shape. Okay, you talk about books that are really beat up on the last leg, and people want to preserve it. That's a keyword, preservation. And I think over the years, especially I would say starting in the mid 80s, late 80s, for those that are in the hobby longer than me, maybe you can shine in and add to the conversation. But I think it's not until the mid 80s and even late 80s that dealers and collectors start to try to dupe other people by restoring and enhancing the book with the intention to give the book a higher grade appearances to get more money for them. Okay, and basically as the work improve, as far as the quality of the work improve, it certainly was not disclosed. That's one of the biggest problem with restoration. Is if you buying something, if I'm buying something that I know is restored, it's not a big issue with me. If for certain books, as I have mentioned in other videos, if it is a rare book, hard to find books, and the seller disclosed to me that it is restored in certain manners, it would not bother me. It would not bother me one bit. I own quite a few restored golden age books, and it's not a big issue. It's a big issue when someone selling me a book that they claim to be in a certain grade, and the reason why it is in that certain grade because they doctor it in order to make it look nicer without telling me that they have doctored it, then it become a major issue. And that happens a lot in the late 80s and early 90s, at least from my experience. Most of the restored books that I bought unknowingly came into my possession around the late 80s and early 90s, when I spent a lot of money buying books at conventions from a lot of dealers. Yeah, dealers were selling restored books. I'm not saying that all of them knowingly doing that, but I'm pretty sure some are guilty of doing that. But I think that's where the hobby has veered away from what started out as something that was not meant to be sinister. Okay, I think, for me today, I think if I want to buy something, and if the seller disclosed to me certain things that restore, I'm okay with that. Certain things I cannot live with. As far as restoration, I cannot live with trim books. Out of all the restorations that is around, from color touches to glue to pieces added. Pieces added tend to be the most obvious because usually, back in the 70s and 80s, where a piece is added, you can see that it is poorly placed, glue put together, and then poorly color to try to match the cover. So it is hideous. Okay, it's not well done. It's not designed to dupe anybody. Okay, and for me, sometimes seeing the poorly done work is almost a charm of itself, because it adds to the innocence of the time. Okay, that's the key. It adds to the innocence. And but now with the new techniques that restorer are using, it certainly make the book look a lot nicer, almost too nice. And personally, I'm not a big fan of buying restore silver age books or newer, because they are not rare. I would rather have a low grade silver age books than buy a high grade restore silver age books. But it's a personal preference, and I'm not a snob that I will ignore all restore books. There's a lot of people that are in that boat. The one reason why the market for restore books are much lower than non-restore book, because the majority of the people have problems with restore books. It's not a big deal for me. I had made that known so many times so far, but for some people it's like horrifying. It's almost as bad as death or something, but it's a personal preference. I don't have, I'm not gonna try to convince anybody that they should like restore books. I'm not gonna try to do that. It's no point. I think those that hate restore books will learn to will keep hating it. I rarely see anybody change their view on restore books. Rarely. I probably is one of them. Like years ago when I start out collecting and I find out about restore, I was horrified. I hated seeing those books that I bought from dealers at conventions that I didn't know was restore. I hated seeing them restore. Found out that they were restore. Found out that I was dupe. Okay, that's a key word. I hated that feeling that I've been conned by dealers and sellers. But over the years, as I learned more about the history of restoration, I came to understand that there was a time that restoration was not an ugly thing. It's not an evil thing. and it was okay. It was accepted, and I can look at those books and in many ways understand the history and the time that came along with that book. There's a cool history of a book that has been restored as far as what went through. Not to say that it's like a pedigree, it's not, okay, but it adds to a little background to the thought process of the previous owner. Somebody along the way in the 70s or early 80s thought importantly enough that this book had to be preserved, to have it done. Today, it's unthinkable. Today, it's unthinkable for anyone to look at a book that is complete. Okay, the book might have a split cover, might have a big chunk missing, but it would be hard to believe anyone today would look at a low grade book and say, I'm gonna send this in for a professional restorer and have it redone so that it will be a pristine looking minty book. It would be hard to find that kind of collectors that think that way. Not to say that it's not impossible. I'm just saying that, for me, when I hold a golden age book that was restored, it's kind of neat to see that there was time where someone thought so highly of this book to want the work done. I'm okay with that. If that's the reason that I can own a book for a fifth, a quarter of the cost, I'm okay with that. But that's my personal choice. Did my rambling make any sense, Cammy? If it didn't, let me know, and I will try better next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.